What's going on, fellas? Welcome to another episode of the Balkan Chronicles here from Gran Canaria, Las Palmas to be precise. Had some breakfast, as you can see. Started the day with a bowl of cereal, because milk just always helps to get things down, and the cereal has some high glycemic index carbs, in other words sugars, which is just good to get you going for the day ahead, give you some energy, sort of a kickstart. After that, I had a plate of 3 fried eggs and some bacon with some brown sauce, some HP to be even more precise. This is the main fat and protein source, where the fat is in the egg yolk and the fat of the bacon. I mean, lots of people don't eat the fat of the bacon actually, but I've always enjoyed it, so I eat that too. And then the protein from the sort of red part of the bacon and the egg whites. I don't usually have breakfast like this. I usually have a shake, as you know, but it's good to sort of change things up a bit. After that, I had 4 pieces of toast. It doesn't look very toasted. That's because the toast just wasn't very good. It was slightly toasted with some jam. Made some sandwiches. They were good. So sort of toast and jam sandwich. Really good source of carbs in the toast, and really good source of sugars in the strawberry. I know carbs and sugars are the same, but I'm trying to define the difference between high glycemic index and low. As in sugars and starch. So then after breakfast we went to the crater of the volcano, because if you don't know, Gran Canaria is basically a big volcano. So here's the sort of crater where apparently this is where all the like magma and stuff came out of. Really interesting. And I'm no geologist, but apparently the land around volcanoes is always very fertile, because apparently when they erupt they bring up sort of nutrients from the ground below, so you can see lots of trees and vegetation and things. And then all around, I didn't show it, but all around there's lots of wine farms, things like that, and orchards and things. All very nice. Then we went up to the very top of sort of the mountain. I think this was one of the highest points on the island. But really nice. Although it was extremely windy, it was very hot, which is quite an interesting feat. And you can see there's a golf course there, very nice, on sort of the mouth of the volcano, which is really quite bizarre. Then went back to the pool side of the hotel to have some lunch. Had some bread with butter, just because it tastes nice and good carbs. Had some croquettes as a starter, because that's good fats in the cheese and ham, which is inside the Iberian ham. Then had spaghetti bolognese, because obviously there's good protein and in the bolognese and good carbs in the spaghetti. So that was lunch. After that, went and chilled for a bit, and then headed on to the gym. So fellas, after lunch I went on to the gym to smash a good arms routine, beginning with biceps, as you can see here, with 3 sets of 20 on barbell curls. No weight, I'm just focusing on really good form, externally rotating the shoulders, and what that does is focuses the isolation onto the long head of the biceps, which is the sort of the inner part of the belly, the non-peak bit you might know of. And that's basically where I'm lacking the most in my biceps. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen Pumping Iron or films like that, but Arnold, he talks about the body being like a work of art, which you're constantly sculpting. So that's what I'm looking to do all the time, and just sculpt areas which I'm lacking in. So for example here, the long head could be better, as it is lagging behind the peak. So that's why I'm doing specific exercises to work on that. Anyways, the next exercise I do, which is also, as you can see here, which is also focusing on the long head, is the spider curl, the dumbbell spider curl, where I do 3 sets of 15 reps on 8 kg dumbbells. And that's a good exercise. Slightly more isolated because it's dumbbells, and you know, if you watch lots of my videos, you'll know that I always like to start with a compound exercise. So the barbell curl was more compound, and now I'm doing some more isolated stuff. So after the spider curls, I go ahead and do 3 sets of 20 hammer curls, dumbbell hammer curls with 10 kg. And this, although it's important to sculpt your areas where you're lagging and work on your weaknesses, it's also important to maintain your strength. So this is a very much peak, like the peak part of the biceps orientated movement, where it's just not so much the long head, but more the peak, and it's also isolated, as you can see. After that, I go on to 3 sets of just alternating dumbbell curls. I always call these the Russ Wall curls, because a particular YouTuber who I watch, he does them in a certain fashion, which I try and emulate, because they're really seriously good at isolating the biceps. Also, if you externally rotate your wrists and shoulders, it means you can get a really good long head contraction, which is my weak point, as I've been saying, I'm trying to work on. So that's the main sort of body of the workout done, and then I move on to the finishes, which is what I like to call them, and this is when I just go onto the cables and just do a big drop set. Depending on the grip, this changes, this I don't write down like the other ones, and this changes from gym to gym, where I just do a grip that I feel like doing on that day. So sometimes I might use the rope, sometimes I might use a flat bar, sometimes I might use a V-bar. Today you can see I'm using a V-bar. And I do roughly 12 to 25 reps. So on the first set is the heaviest set, I do about 12 to 15 reps. Second set, sort of in the middle, do between 15 and 20 reps. And the last set really go and burn out. Today the weights I was going for were all quite heavy, so the reps were slightly lower, and another reason why the reps were lower was because I didn't have a huge amount of time. I had to rush on and hit triceps before the gym closed, so I was doing shorter and heavier sets rather than longer and lighter ones. So after that, I move on to triceps, which if you've been watching my channel, you'll know my triceps are my main lacking feature in my whole body. So when I say my long head of my biceps is lagging, that's very specific. I was just in my biceps, whereas my triceps, they're my whole body. They're the main lagging muscle. And within my triceps, my long head also is the lagging point. And if you don't know, the triceps in your the long head in your triceps is the big meaty bit, where if you're standing normally, it's the bit that is in contact with your lats. And the way you isolate that is by doing over the head movements. So I begin triceps with 3 sets of 18 bodyweight dips. I used to do narrow grip bench, as you would have seen in my last video, but recently I just haven't been enjoying that much. I also find dips are better, although they're both very compound. I find dips are slightly better for isolating the triceps, because when I do the narrow grip bench, no matter how hard I try with my muscle, I find it always goes to my shoulders and chest rather than my triceps. So with that said, that's like the warm-up, the compound movements of the day for triceps. After that, I go on to 3 sets of 16 to 18 on 10 kg dumbbell skull crushes. This isn't long head actually. This is just generic triceps, not really focused too much on any specific head. I think maybe the medial slightly more than any other head, but it's all good. That's probably my favourite exercise. I just find that's really good for getting a solid triceps pump, and it's easy to get good mind-muscle connection when doing that exercise. After that, I go ahead and do 3 sets of easy bar incline skull crushes, 20 kgs, 60 degrees incline, 3 sets of 17 to 20. And this is serious long head work where I try and push I couldn't do it so much here because the bench was really long, so got the bench got in the way of my arms at the top, which you'll be able to see, which is quite annoying. But the key points of this particular exercise are you focus on stretching out all the flesh between your serratus and your elbow, because that is the primary stretching method of the long head. So you push your elbows as far as possible backwards, and you also have to make sure that your back is as flat as possible on the bench, because a lot of people arch their back, but then they also push their elbows back, and that's kind of just counteracting each other. So you want to keep your back flat on the bench and also your elbows as far as possible. Also, what you do when you lock out, you don't want to bring your elbows forward, so that when you lock out there's no tension. You want to keep your elbows far back and try and lock out while there's still tension on your triceps. So with that said, I go on to another long head movement, the dumbbell overhead tricep extensions, where I do 3 sets of 12 to 15 on 8 kgs. Again, really long head orientated, where you push the elbow as far across the back of your head as possible to really focus the long head. Really focus the action on the long head and stretch it out and get the blood going there while it's contracting. After that, I go on to the equivalent of the biceps finisher, where I just do exactly the same. A drop set consisting of 3 mini sets, again 12 to 25, exactly the same. And this can either be a tricep push down as seen here, or an over the head extension. It changes on how I'm feeling, because I like to, although I like to write down my workouts and keep them very strict so the progressive overload is very consistent, I also like to have some freedom where I can kind of do what I'm feeling like on certain days. And after that, this is something completely new I've put in because my triceps are lagging and they're still not making as much improvement as I'd like to see them make. I do triceps bench dips. So at the beginning you saw me just do triceps bodyweight dips, which is where your whole body is in the air apart from your hands, which are on the bars. This, your feet are on the floor and your hands are just on a bench. And this is just a really good finisher where I do anywhere between 15 and 25 reps. Also not very consistent, just depends on how hard the workout's been. And just really try and focus on the triceps and burn them out. And that's a seriously good way to do so. Anyways, that is it for the workout. And after this, as you'll see, I go to the Old Town to have a good bit of supper. For supper, we were headed to the old part of the town to go to a nice little restaurant. As you can see here, it's just still the new part. The weather wasn't actually too nice at this time, just a bit sort of grey and overcast, but it was still really hot. And you can also see why the city's called Las Palmas, because it's filled with palm trees, obviously. And as you can see here, it's the Old Town. I mean, I'm no architect, but I mean, even I can tell it's sort of quite typically Spanish looking. Very nice city to look at in general, especially the old part. I mean, this is very nice. And we were just headed to a good restaurant right slap bang in the centre of the old town, which you can see here. And the food was absolutely divine there. As you can hear, the restaurant, really nice restaurant. And then here is a statue of Genghis Khan, because who doesn't like a statue of Genghis Khan when they're eating? So as a starter, I had some black risotto with squid. It was black apparently because of the ink of the squid, which despite that was actually really nice. And obviously there's good protein in the squid and good carbs in the rice. And here is a main with duck and mashed potato, good carbs in the mashed potato and good protein in the duck. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you're still watching, I love you. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.